We got to talk transfer portal. I got On3 transfer portal expert Pete Nakos here. But before we get into it, transfer portal talk is brought to you by Teamworks Intelligence. Every player, every metric, every advantage. All right, Pete, let's talk David Stone. This one surprised me. We got a former 5-star who signed with Oklahoma in the portal after just 1 year. First of all, what broke down, and is it truly over between Oklahoma and David Stone?
Yeah, this is he officially went in Friday night, and it really came as a stunner. It was about almost 8:30 Central Time when he went in, 9:30 Eastern. And talking to people at Oklahoma over the weekend, I'm not going to say it's over with Oklahoma until he actually goes somewhere else and signs some papers somewhere else, just because I think he has a really good relationship there with Brent Venables and Todd Bates, and it sounds like he wants to be there. Just some things might not be adding up off the field. That it might be best for him to go somewhere else. So that's what's playing out there. I know Sooner Scoop, George Story put together a really good story Saturday morning, kind of laying out what went wrong there and why he is looking elsewhere at this point. So I think one school you have to watch here is Miami. They almost landed him coming out of high school, and they're in the need for a defensive tackle, and David Stone would be a great fit. But I also think that where the market is at right now too. I don't think Miami's going to overpay for him either. So you get that at Miami, and then you also have Ohio State, which is a top 5 program that definitely needs a defensive tackle. Last I've heard, they're making the decision if they want to go after David Stone or not.
All right. Michigan State, they were the other program. It was Michigan State, it was Miami, and Oklahoma. Is Michigan State a factor here?
Yeah, I think Michigan State was a big factor in his recruitment because of Mel Tucker. Obviously Mel Tucker isn't there anymore, so don't expect the Spartans to be a big factor at this point.
All right, David Stone. We'll see what happens there. Let's talk about another former 5-star. That's Nico Iamaleava. There's word coming out right now that UCLA is informing their quarterback room that Nico's coming. What does that mean to you? And also, what does it mean to Joey Aguilar, who just transferred in from App State?
Yeah, it's funny, Josh. We just talked about a guy whose recruitment I'm not going to say is over until he signs anything, and I'm saying the same thing about Nico. I mean, we have known this has been trending to UCLA since the Tennessee and him decided to part ways. Steve Wiltfine has been reporting that the whole time. I still think UCLA is going to get it done. Obviously, telling your quarterbacks is a step in the right direction, but the ink still has to hit the paper, and when that does, obviously he'll be a Bruin. What's that mean for Joey Aguilar, though? From everything I've been told, he's had a really good spring. Him and Tino Sinceri, the offensive coordinator, have really hit it off. The former Indiana quarterbacks coach who went to UCLA. Yeah. Those two have meshed so well. I'm very interested to see how this plays out. There's obviously a couple programs across the country though where Joey could maybe start next year, and how's that going to work out with Nico and Joey? And does Joey choose to stay and try to beat Nico up for the starting job?
Yeah, just an absolutely crazy situation going on there. We'll see what happens. Nico and UCLA continue to inch closer and closer to getting this done. But as of Sunday at about midday, as we tape this, it's not officially over just yet. Let's talk about another former 5-star in the transfer portal. That's wide receiver Micah Hudson. He left Texas Tech. He went to A&M. Now he's back in the portal. Did he really join the A&M program, or did he just announce his transfer? What happened there? This year's spring transfer portal window is sponsored by Teamworks Intelligence, and their mission is simple: more hits, fewer misses, and player evaluation. In the transfer portal era, data-driven recruiting isn't just an advantage, it's essential. And Teamworks Intelligence empowers your program to navigate the transfer portal with precision while simultaneously elevating your game planning and self-scouting capabilities. The same advanced analytics platform trusted by NFL teams to make multi-million-dollar personnel decisions is now available to elevate your college program's evaluation process. For athletic directors, general managers, and coaching staffs, Teamwork Intelligence delivers game-changing efficiency by streamlining the evaluation process. Instead of spending countless hours reviewing film, traveling to scout prospects, your team can assess more players with greater accuracy in even less time. This means maximizing recruiting efforts within the new budget constraints, giving you the competitive edge needed to build championship caliber programs. Don't just survive the portal era, dominate it with Teamwork's Intelligence, the new standard in player evaluation.
I wouldn't say I would say he fully joined, but it was a very short a period of time that he was part of that program in College Station. He was one of the top transfers in this winter after leaving Texas Tech, and going to A&M made a lot of sense where he could play with Marcel Reed and be a big impact for that wide receiver room. And early on in winter workouts, it just didn't work out, and he kind of left the program, and that happened. And then this week, he officially went in the portal. We had reported when he had left the program that they weren't going to reconcile. So it's no surprise to see him back in the portal. The biggest surprise is that at this moment, like Texas Tech and Micah Hudson back to Texas Tech is not a done deal. Right. And he visited Utah this weekend, and the Red Raiders are definitely going to really consider bringing him back in, but that is not as much of a foregone conclusion as we would have thought when he went in the portal.
So during his recruitment, I mean, when he committed, even before he committed to Texas Tech, he really didn't take many visits. Like during that cycle, he never even stepped foot at Texas or Texas A&M. He was pretty much just locked into Texas Tech. I always thought, hey, once the season starts, he's going to show up on a couple campuses. He never did, and his recruitment now kind of feels the same way. Do you see anybody besides Utah and Texas Tech getting involved here?
No, and I think Texas Tech, they really want a slot wide receiver this upcoming year. They're trying to kick on a few doors for some other wide receivers in the portal. If that all doesn't work out, I know Micah Hudson will be a good fit, and maybe isn't that slot role they want, but obviously it would be a good fit.
All right. I know you got to run and break some news, but there's two more names I got to talk about. They're buzzing. Beau Atkinson, the edge prospect leaving UNC, was at Georgia this weekend, but I know Ohio State is also heavily involved. Does this recruitment get beyond this weekend after he was in Athens?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be in Columbus on Monday, but the one thing I keep hearing is he really wants to make a decision this upcoming week. I don't know if we're going to see him get to a second weekend of visits.
Okay, cool. So that recruitment, though, and most likely we probably won't see a third team get involved here, probably just these two.
So it's interesting. So he had a bunch of Zoom calls this past week, like South Carolina, like they talked to him. That was a good call from what I heard. So I don't want to say that he's not going to take other visits, and there's definitely other schools in the mix, but the first two are definitely Georgia and Ohio State.
All right, one more name. We got BYU wide receiver, very productive wide receiver at BYU, Keelon Marion. What's the latest on his recruitment now that he's in the portal?
Yeah, so he's picked up a lot of offers since he was one in SMU, Miami, Tennessee. I see Miami being a big factor here. They really want to add to that wide receiver room. And then beyond that, Texas is in the market for a return specialist. I don't know if it's all going to work out where he lands there, but I know Texas is definitely another team in this mix.
All right, we are officially halfway through the spring portal window. We're 5 days in. There's 5 days left. Pete Nakos with On3. Thanks for joining us. It's going to be another busy week in the portal.
You bet. Thanks, Josh.